Hi there, Winner's Circle fans. A very warm welcome to our Bushveld studio, where today we've come out here to do some studying as far as the J&B Met form is concerned. We're also going to reflect on the running of the 2013 Lormeron's Queen's Plate, won in such resounding fashion by the reigning Horse of the Year Variety Club. It nevertheless impacted on some of the other horses in the race because every other horse other than Variety Club was the subject of a false start. There's some positive spins to this, and we caught up with TARRY, who lies second on the national training log at the moment, and he of course is the trainer of POMODORO. POMODORO is owned by Chris van Niekerk, bred by Chris van Niekerk, and TARRY has many horses in his yard belonging to Chris van Niekerk in partnership with Marcus Jooste, who of course is the owner of the great, incomparable Variety Club. Sean, however, discusses the impact that the false start may have had on POMODORO and other horses in the race.
Andrew, we know that the mile is still on the short side for him. So with that in mind, we had to keep him fresh, and keeping them fresh, they're going to run more on adrenaline. And I think when you burst through the pens and your adrenaline's depleted, and that goes for the whole field, you surely are at some sort of disadvantage with any horse that hasn't gone through the pens. You know, it's well documented. I've been through it. I'm very happy for Joey Ramsden, for Marcus Jooste, and for Variety Club. He's a champion, and it will be fantastic to see him represent South Africa in the Breeders' Cup. And had he not won, that wouldn't have happened. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't strive to get our house in order and to run events that are so well marketed and so well planned and so well executed. An event of the nature of the Queen's Plate, what the Ruperts have done for this event is phenomenal. To let a start like that take the shine off the day, I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong for racing. I think it's wrong for the sponsors. I think there's a few question marks in people's heads, and it should never be that way.
Let's play devil's advocate. Just imagine that Variety Club had been declared a non-runner as a consequence of all the other runners getting away on terms.
Well, if it was my horse, I would be absolutely gutted. You know, if your horse gets left behind in a Group 1 because the back gates didn't close properly or because they popped open, I'm not sure exactly what happened. If the gates were closed properly and they popped open, or if they thought they were closed and the horse leaned back and they opened, I'm not too sure. I heard two things during the week, and I have to just shake my head in disbelief and say, let me not comment on this any further, because it's obviously just me. I heard from a staff saying that it was hard for the starter to see number 15 gate, so it can be excused. I don't buy that. If it's hard for him to see, then there should be steps taken that angle is covered. Be it an extra person, be it a monitor at the start, I don't care what it is, but eliminate that blind spot if it is a blind spot. He's the odds-on favourite. I mean, if you're not watching that gate, which gate are you watching? The other thing is, in the Sporting Post, I read an article that said the shenanigans at the start could not have affected the result in any way, and for those people that are looking at the start as an excuse, you're barking up the wrong tree. Well, for people that know so much about racing and their articles are so good and so thorough and often accurate, I'm flabbergasted, and I'll leave it right there.
If it's at all possible, let's analyse this race, wiping the false start completely from our minds. What's your face value take on POMODORO's performance in the Lormeron's Queen's Plate?
Marshall Eagle throws a curveball. Okay, a phenomenal performance. But is that the level of form that we ran to? I'm a bit confused. Slumdog, fantastic run, drawn right against the paint. Had every chance in running. I think Jackson, it was nice to see him go forward, and he still finished off well. He was in a good position. I think he was one off the rail. He made up a couple of lengths, so great performance from him. POMODORO unfortunately had very poor luck in running the second time round. He got popped right out of the pack as they were cornering, and he had to come around them, and then he made an early dash. I think had it gone smoothly for him, I would have liked to see it a little different to the way it worked out, because he was never travelling. Where he would bounce the first time out and he was on the bit, and he was travelling the second time, he always seemed just off the bit, and things never went his way. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying it's very hard to put your head down on the result, because they all finished in a scrum, and Marshall Eagle gets the 2 kilo pull, which the others don't get. So he becomes the live wire.
All right, Sean, now Pierce Stratham gets beaten an absolute whisker for third place behind the Derby winner, Jackson. And of course, Variety Club is out on his own and makes an unequivocal statement that he's very confident that Jackson will win this year's J&B Met. What do you make of that statement?
It shouldn't shock you. You've been in racing a long time. Pierre's never been Mr. Confident with his own rides. Having said that, I'm sure he must have a lot of faith in Pomodoro. He's been a long way with the horse, and he ducked him in the 1200 and he came out to win. He's got a lot of class, but Pierre's opinion, well, that's fine. I mean, that's how he sees the race. Jackson is a brilliant horse in his own right. Form is a little jaded, running behind Variety Club all the time, but we know how brilliant he is. We've seen his performances, and they're out of the top draw. And to not respect Jackson, you'd be foolish. Brett Crawford's won the Met. He knows what it takes. He's a good conditioner. I've got all the respect in the world for Jackson. Marshall Eagle, if he gets a 10 furlong, with a 2 kilo pull on us, it's hard to see ourselves as the winner based on the result. But I'd like to think that I wouldn't like to hang my hat on that result.
So what Sean Tarry is really saying about the 2013 running of the Lormeron's Queen's Plate, it was a resounding success for the reigning Horse of the Year Variety Club, an absolutely smashing performance. But treat the rest of the race with a measure of circumspection, because it may have affected some horses more adversely than others. It nevertheless remains a great Grade 1 contest and the most important pointer to the running of the 2013 J&B Met.